how businesses should approach working with the federal government.
Learning how to position yourself, but more importantly, how to be relevant to the client.
If you focus on one agency,
make that your home agency.
We can get caught up in going to multiple events and we don't retain any of the information that we've learned.
Well, I'm an 8A company, give me a contract. That's what a lot of new businesses do. They automatically think that those programs are going to generate contracts for them.
When you're approaching a potential partner, come with something in your hand.
You have to make sure that you're not touting your certifications.
And it's okay to say no.
When you're going into an agency and you're trying to figure out where are their real problems at, read. It's available to you.
All right. Rounding out a long day today, skill and certifications, all of you, 3 successful business owners, different respects, different areas and industries. So I just wanted to kind of bring us together to help close out the theme, which is how businesses should approach working with the federal government. What are some of the strategies that you've utilized, and also allow us to kind of maybe have some difference of opinions, right? Because obviously, we come from different areas, different backgrounds, target different agencies and customers. So Erica, I'll let you start kicking off.
So I would say that from my own experience, starting out in GovCon, because my background was GovCon, it wasn't as difficult to do the transition into the GovCon space. But learning how to position yourself, but more importantly, how to be relevant to the client is important, right? And so for me, instead of going out of the gate my first year, trying to be a salesperson, I was a student in school. So I used that time to really learn more about the space that I wanted to be in. And I went to a lot of seminars, a lot of conferences, a lot of events. I went to a lot of the agency-specific events. I attended like networking group events as well, specifically for the agencies that I wanted to be in. And that's what helped me to get the business where I needed to be. And then remember we talked about the veteran programs. Mm-hmm. And so I attended the Veteran Institute of Procurement. And so that actually helped me to expand even more on my resources and what it means to be in government contracting and understand all the different nuances about it.
All right. Piggybacking on what Erica mentioned, what benefited us was focusing on agency. I really like what she said, that agency-specific events, because that's where you can meet with the customer, understand their pain points, network with people who have been in that space for a long time, and continue to build that relationship. A lot of time I see folks try everything, and there's only so much time in a day that you can spend, right? So I would say target your agency first, do the groundwork, know those people, know those decision makers, build your relationship and make your mark on an agency. And that should be a mantra every day. We get distracted by a lot of shiny stuff. Every day happens, different conferences, this speaker, that speaker, but it is going to take your time away. So that's what I can share from my experience, that focusing on a particular agency and build your ground, that will help you launch your business for a long term.
And I'll go a little bit deeper just to kind of give some tangible things to walk away with. So when you're getting more information about these customers, and I think, we can get caught up in going to multiple events and we don't retain any of the information that we've learned. We're just on to the next thing. And so internally, we have this thing that I coined the murder map, which is a real thing. But, I'm a ID channel and crime fanatic, right? And so, when you see these boards, you see the criminal in the middle or the crime in the middle that they're trying to solve. And there's branches, they're trying to figure out who that person is. And so in that middle is your customer, is that target. And so we have everything, congressional submissions, attorney general reports, org charts, things like that. Because I think we all want to focus on our capabilities, but we need to focus on the solution that we're providing to our customer and be about their business and not just our business. And so having that dossier, having that, report that says everything about this customer will make those conversations more focused, and it'll actually be a differentiator as well, because there's a ton of business, like we all do similar things, right? So there's a ton of people you can copy and paste businesses like ours. What is that thing that'll set you apart? Let the customer know you speak their language and that you know them.
All right, guys, so here's the truth about certifications. Everyone wants them, most people have them, but 90% of companies do not win contracts based on their certification. So if you're like most people, you've got 8A, woman-owned, or any of the other certs, you're tired of chasing SAM bids or waiting for someone else to give you a chance, this is your opportunity. Certifications don't grow companies, strategies do. So I've opened up this 6-week intensive bootcamp where we're going to help you turn your certifications into actual revenue. Join us now. There's a QR code or the link in the description where you can get started today with us. If you're tired of letting your certification sit on the sideline collecting dust, now is your chance. Back to the regular show.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I will add on to if you're targeting a certain agency, you want to know what they spend on. You want to know what they buy. Because I know a lot of time I've spoken to other small businesses that will go to agencies and say, hey, we do this. And they're looking at them like, but we don't buy that. So I think it's important for you to do your homework, as Vina said. Make sure you understand what you're trying to sell to the agency and make sure that they're a buyer of what you're providing. That's critical. And then more importantly, I would say to look at like the U.S. spending, like go to that usspending.gov, look at how much money they spend on what you buy. You go to the FPDS and look at, okay, what companies are there that I may be able to partner with since I'm trying to get an entry point. Look at that to see who you can maybe partner, build a relationship with to actually get yourself inside of that particular agency that you're trying to go into as well. And then I would say map out. Like, Venus says she have her murder map, but I would say, like, for me, I build like a pipeline out. And so in my pipeline, I like to project out like 12 to 18 months. Because if you do anything else, it's like unrealistic because somebody else has probably already shaped it for themselves. And so do bluebirds come along? Yes, they do. Do you win them? Sometimes you do. Mm-hmm. But there are other times where you're going after those bluebirds where it's actually really wired for someone else. So I would say, like, do your research, map it out between 12 to 18 months, and then do your, do that recon to go get deep into the client environment. Understand them, let them see who you are. You don't have to always be the resident expert. I know for me, my first year, I would go to the networking engagements and different ones in the room would get up and they'd be saying, oh, we do this, we do this, we do that. And they give you a runoff. And then they would get to me and I would say, good afternoon. My name is Erica Dobbs. I'm the CEO of Dobbs Defense Solutions. And I would sit down because I wanted to show them that I wasn't a know-it-all, but I came to learn and I wanted to be a part of the team. But I didn't want them to look at me and think that I was trying to perceive myself as more than what I was, because at the time I didn't know. Right.
You mentioned a couple tools. What are some of the tools that you've used to help you? Like you mentioned USA Spending, FPDS. What are some other tools that you use? I know you like free. So
I'm a free girl.
I mean, free, paid.
Those tools are free. Believe it or not, you don't have to pay for that. You use sam.gov. Mm-hmm. That's free. The only benefit that the Gov wins and the Dell Techs and the Gov Tribes and the EasyGov, whatever the different platforms offer you, is they take the same data that you're looking at for free and they roll it up into a platform that makes it easier for you to find. But the same information is rarely available on SAM, USA Spending, and FPDS. So, a lot of times as a small business, you're overextending yourself by buying these things that you can't afford. But all you have to do is search on sam.gov and you can find the same opportunities.
What other tools are you using?
Yeah, for GovWin is standard. Yep. But before you could afford GovWin, we used agency spreadsheet. Go to the agency website, look at their forecast, and the way that I would suggest folks to use that forecast is go into the detail of the description of the work. Is it new? Is it recompete? If it's recompete, you can find statement of work, RFP, publicly available, right? Read up on those documents and look for the point of contact. A lot of time they will assign who the core or the business owner is and who is the contracting officer. Mm-hmm. That's gold. Those are the nuggets that you want to look for. Right. And that becomes your entry point for that particular opportunity to that customer. You need to be a little bit of a pestering, right? I mean, don't become a total pest, but, soft touch point. I'm interested in this opportunity. This is what we do. Here's our case. Wait for a month or a month and a half and then say, would you be able to, give us a 5-minute time or 10-minute time? Don't ask for more than 15 minutes because they are busy doing 10 other things, right? They're not just waiting for you to show up and for a meeting. And be persistent. but don't become a pest. Again, I want to repeat that because I did that very frequently, and I was very mindful that, okay, when do I become a pest? So I haven't, hopefully, luckily, that that didn't happen. But if you are not there, they are not remembering you, right?
That's
It
right.
is your job to remind you that you are there, and this is something that you could support them with, and you have the capability.
Can
So-
I just expound on something? that you
Absolutely
said?
no. This is a free
So
fall.
you made a valid point about being persistent, but when you're doing that, you have to make sure that you're not touting your certifications
Right.
in their face, because they get 8A companies all the time to come through the door,
Yeah,
woman
talk about
owned
their
and
capabilities.
SCVSB and all those certifications. And so when people go, you need to understand that you need to do your homework. Don't just go in there and say, well, I'm an 8A company, give me a contract. Because that's what a lot of new businesses do. They automatically think that those programs are going to generate contracts for them, but it's really your business development processes
Yeah.
that
That's
yield that for you.
Same for me. I think earlier on I asked a business owner for advice, and I mean, I tell people this all the time. Nobody owes you anything. And I mentioned that earlier. I think once we get these certifications, we think we're the best thing since sliced bread, right? Because that's what other people previously used to grow, etc. And it really is understanding, again, I will mention this over and over. You mentioned the website. And free 99, going to agency website, just seeing even before the forecast, the agency will tell you what their focus is. When you see the budget submissions, it talks about what their priorities are and what they want to do with
Yeah,
it.
the
And
budget
so-
in brief.
Absolutely.
Read a budget in brief.
Absolutely.
And
so-
GAO too.
very good information. But while you're trying, I even think when you're just trying to get your foot in the door and you're partnering, even when you're approaching these large partners or people who know more than you do, let them know you know the agency, you know them. I do think like GovWin is not a good entry point, price point for those who have, are starting out.
Right.
So
It's too expensive.
Yeah.
I'll
Right.
say it.
No, you can
it's
say it.
very
Hey.
expensive,
It's very
right?
expensive.
No, it's
And
really.
so we've had it before. There's some others that I like better because they have collaborative pieces to them, and also AI embedded in all these things. So when you're small too, maybe they have another job. Just considering all these things, a good entry point I think is one of those other websites that does do a feed. So you don't have to go to 10 websites and all that kind of stuff if you don't want to. But it has all the history. You can do FOIA requests and like all these other things from one little platform. So that would probably be, if there was any money spent, it would be for me to buy one of these where all the information is.
Yeah, absolutely. We did FOIA request, not so frequently, but very targeted when we are like, okay, this is something that we really want to go after. So those FOIA requests are helpful to get to the details. And another useful tool, I would say, interns. Use the interns. They are smart. They
That's
are
right.
high
Do that
energy.
research.
I cannot read up a document after I go like 20 page. I'm falling asleep. But they can read up the 100-page statement of work and come back to you with a summary. Okay, rather than spending GovWin money, I would put intern money on the table first.
AI money,
AI money is
ChatGPT
better.
Now,
intern.
yeah.
Build a GPT that is an intern, and everybody else that you have on your team, just drop that document in there.
What's the tool that you keep not mentioning the name?
I did GovTribe.
Oh,
Yeah,
GovTribe. Okay.
GovTribe.
I
We're a
name.
legacy GovTribe.
No, I
I
didn't
think
hear you
it.
mention
I don't
that.
even remember.
'Cause
how
we
much.
kept giving
It
the
was
big
like
people name
$30
too.
or $40.
We don't
something
been in
like
it 3 times, and we said they too expensive. We were missing the
Yeah,
people.
you have Easy GovOps. They are good.
Yeah, there's a few
GovTribe
others.
is good.
HireGov is
HireGov
one.
is
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was going to share this with you as well. A lot of times people are going into the government and say, hey, what's your pain points? The pain points are like listed on their websites. And a lot of people don't realize that. And then you can actually search GAO reports and it'll show you the agency's pain points as well. So when you're going into an agency and you're trying to figure out where are their real problems at, you need to go to their website and look it up, and don't go in there and say, hey, what's your pain points? What's keeping you up at night? Read. It's available to you
Right.
on their website.
Yeah.
That's what's keeping them up at night. It's available to you for you to read.
You mentioned budget briefs. Can you tell people about those?
I can start. So budget brief, we carefully look at the agency that we're interested in. Where is the money going to be allocated for? And it changes administration to administration. Their priority changes, right? And you need to shift gears. When the Democrat comes, they have a different priority, different area of funding. When the Republican comes, the priority changes. So you need to be flexible about that, right? And have opportunity in your pipeline that fits both sides. Because we're in a business, for us, We want a functioning government. That's about it.
Right.
And continue our business with. So a lot of time you'll see agency has $900 billion to spend. But are they all contract money? Not necessarily. We're probably sipping down from the 900 billion to like, okay, maybe $3 billion of spending that fits with what we are looking for. Filter it down from 300 billion, that may be coming down to a couple of $100 million of actual contract that we could pursue.
Yeah.
So those filtration, you need to know how to filter, how to look for, and then identify, okay, out of all of this, which department is going to do this procurement? And what are my touch point, what are my point of contacts, who are the directors or the deputy directors that I need to meet up? Then you start those conversations. You present your capability. You already know what their mission going to be out of that line item. What are their pain points? Read the GOA report. And then you prepare a 2 to 3 page presentation. That's about it. Don't go on your slides more than 3 slides.
No more than 3.
That's
5 is the max.
Yeah.
15,
so
20.
Yeah.
so those are our those are my
Yeah,
philosophy
poor
and my
dad.
approach. Yeah.
I laugh when people say that. I'm Navy trained. So the Navy teach you 20 words, 20 seconds. If you can't say it in 20 words and 20 seconds, you're wasting people's time.
I didn't know that.
That's the way we were trained on it. I was going to add, in regards to what you were saying, the NDAA is really good for that. You know, it helps you to know which direction the government is going into, where the money's going, and what's approved and what's appropriated. Remember you asked me that question earlier about the certifications and things like that. So that document tells you really where the money is and what they're focused on. And then you want to look at the OMB reports as well, you know, for the budget. They'll let you know as well. So I think that if you're going to be successful in GovCon, you really have to research the different government entities that actually control the budget so that you know what's going on. Because like right now, if you're not tracking the DOD spend, then you're behind. Because it's telling you where the money's going to be spent at.
And let's be clear, too. You know, I think you talked about this in your segment earlier. At first, you were going wide. You know, you were just trying to go after every single agency that bought what you sold, right? And so I had a conversation that was a strong reminder for those of us who already have opportunities. Focus on where 80% of your work is.
Oh, yes.
And then the 20% is new things, right? I call that, you know, barking dogs along your journey. Every conference, every this. Oh, my God, I'm conferenced out. I'm cohorted out.
Say that so. Say that so.
I am, you know, but you know, if you focus on one agency or maybe 3, right? And maybe you learn that one may not be, maybe you have a relationship there, you made a list of people, but 1, 2, or 3, that's it, you know, because we can even narrow it down within that, right? The sub agencies, we got to think about so many things. So otherwise you'd be looking at budgets for about 12,000 different things.
Yeah, I think that if you're going to be a small business, like startup company, starting out, I know for me, one of my colleagues told me yesterday, actually, we was doing an exchange of, you know, text messaging. The person said to me, Erica, I hate being a subcontractor. And I'm like, I love it.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be more priming on opportunities, but the subcontracting allows you to learn the agency, learn the client, and even know if you want to remain in that environment. You know, so, and then subcontracting shows you how to work with partners. You know, how would I manage this if I was the prime? It gives you so many different outlooks on how to do that business. And so for me, as a small business, that's how I grew Dobbs as a sub, more so than as a prime.
Yeah, I subscribe to that. And that also helps you to define, is this an agency that I want to invest in? Yes. Right? Not every client is equal. There are places that I don't want to be anymore, right? We are really saying, okay, if this contract ends, I'm not going to recompete.
Yeah, I've had some of those.
I'm not trying to come back and do other things there. So pick the agency that really fitting you, right? So, and that make that your home agency. And don't stretch yourself out.
Say that again.
Don't stretch yourself out.
Look, right? I want to say it 3 times
right?
because that's what they do.
Yeah, and you know, we all learn from mistakes. I also tried, like, okay, even with the adjacent agency, it's difficult.
It's difficult
to break into a new customer and really build a footprint. You need resources, you need money, you need people on the ground. that are not billable, right? Those are overhead resources. So which one's going to come first? Is the revenue, the money, the reinvestment back into the company? So those are all those calculations that you need to make. So.
One of the things I did too, we did a lot of subcontracting as well, and I think on our federal side, so state we're sub to commercial, all of our enterprise commercial work is prime. So I think we again learn lessons. We also learn how to do business from the prime. You know, either what we would do better in the scenario
100%.
or what was making them, you know, successful also. And then so that was a good teachable moment. But when people look you up on FPDS and they don't see any opportunities because you're like an unnamed sub or something else, they don't understand how you grew or whatever.
But
and
that's
I think,
good for you.
I mean, it's okay.
I love it.
The
I love
turning
that
point,
model.
the turning point for us, knowing that, you know, I have a number in which we will be acquired at that number. And so, you know, in order for that EBITDA and that multiple and all that to be right for that number, you know, we have to have more prime contracts. So at some point, I mean, if that's not your thing, you can absolutely build this. We all know several businesses that have been super successful only as subs. So I guess it depends on what you have an appetite for and what your end game is too.
Yeah, it's all about being strategic, I would say. For example, what I love about the exposure that I've had as a sub is that we have like real niche past performance. Whereas if I was trying to get in the door as a small business, they would never have believed in me on it, and I would have never got in the door. Just like recently, I'll use an example. For our team, we're partnering with another large, and this large has always held this contract. Like they didn't have any subs, and they were doing all this niche work by themselves. But based upon building that relationship, we now have that past performance as a small business. And there's not very many small businesses that can say that they do work in the military submarine community environment, doing testing in cyber as a small business, supporting the weapons
very unique.
supporting weapon systems. And so that's why I don't frown upon subcontracting. Yes, I want to do more priming because you control your destiny more with that. And, you know, I've had my gut checks as a subcontractor, you know, because really you're putting your destiny, your company's whole destiny in someone else's hand, and it's a risk. But you as a leader have to decide, is it worth the risk? You know, and for me at the time, because it yield good return on investment, it was a good risk for me. And so that's why I ventured on the subcontracting path.
It's a low point of entry too, right? Because you don't have to pay for the proposal. Normally, the prime assumes all the risk and the funds and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to put a team together. One other thing, just piggybacking off of you too, is, you know, when you're approaching a partner, potential partner, come with something in your hand. It can't always be leading with your certifications too. I know that's the topic. But say, you know, I always tell them we have a great writing team. We can bring OEM engineers, et cetera. I know, you know, we have great partnerships at AWS and ServiceNow and all of these things. So if we need to bring a technical expert to the table, I can actually make a phone call and we can have that, you know. So I have something to leverage versus our certification. So, you know, that would be a great thing too, because you can't just walk into a customer and just, hey, like pick me. It's always
increase the P-win.
Yeah.
That's the key.
That's the key. That's the key.
And then you make the team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, what you said. Like, I laugh sometimes because I've had some partners that, you know, we were not invited, like that my primes lost the work on. And so they elected to poach my employees. And they, you know, it happens, right? It happens. So they poached my employees thinking that they were the solution and that they were the key to the success on that opportunity. And then they found out, wait, it was the CEO. It wasn't the employees. So a lot of times I think as leaders, you know, we are the differentiator in a lot of our environments and with a lot of our partners. And so what I would say as well, adding to what you're saying about bringing stuff to the table, I know for me, I bring my reputation to the table. When I'm working with people and they ask me to join their team, I actually turn people down because I want to make sure that I don't tarnish my reputation. And so as a small business, when I'm coming into a relationship with partners, the first thing I'm going to do is do my homework first, of course, and look at whether or not I want to work with them. But then there are some times where individuals slip through the cracks. You think you've done your homework and you haven't, but I don't want to damage or tarnish my relationship as Dobbs Defense. I built up a brand, and so I want to make sure that my brand is still solid. So when I come to the table as a partner, I'm making sure that I'm bringing my reputation as that differentiator, but I want to make sure that the person that I'm connecting to does not tarnish me as well.
Yeah, and it's okay to say no.
And it's all right to say no.
It's okay to turn down, because at the end it may not worth anything.
Oh, money's
I
not
have
good
been
money.
I have been on multiple teams that helped win the opportunity but ended up getting nothing. And what do you do after that?
Say that again.
Do you go file a lawsuit? Do you go bash them on the community? But
not worth
those bad businesses out there, and you need to understand those, and you can say, no, it's not worth it. I'm gonna move somewhere else.
Well,
I like
you made
that.
a
I
good
like that.
point. I will say, when you're a small business starting out and you're really giddy in this process and you're excited that a big prime or someone else called you to be in this relationship, remember that you bring more value to them than they bring to you.
Ooh.
That is true. Again, think about the P win, and that's your leverage. And you can say, I can increase your points by 1, 2, or 5%, and that is the differentiator you need to win the work. And try to build trusted relationship. And if you do not have that, it's a failure from the get-go.
And I'll probably leave with a bit of encouragement too, because I think going through this process, GovCon is not for
The
oh
faint
my
at heart.
God, it's not for the weak. And just know that all of us started at one place, different places, but it still required hard work and dedication, 110%. And so just stay the course. As long as you have a plan, definitely, have that why every day, because it's going to get difficult. This was a year for all of us where we probably didn't expect it to go this way, but just being steadfast, unmovable, diligent is what's going to get us to our place, no matter what happens.
Well, thank you so much. It's been great. I appreciate everybody's time today. I appreciate you taking your Saturday out to come out and share with the next generation of small businesses, because, right, I mean, obviously someone helped us along our journeys, and so I know that all of you guys have a heart of gold and you want to give back. And so